Okay, hello there everyone. I haven't done a video about the crime in Queens in a while, but I gotta talk about what's going on here because you know, obviously there's a lot that's been getting ignored as usual. And if anybody's gonna ask me if I'm gonna talk about what happened at Hillcrest Jewish Center, listen folks, I'll talk about that next week when we get to Hanukkah because we are going to talk about anti-Semitism. I just don't want to do it in this video because there's more serious stuff than the anti-Semitism going on right now than, you know, everything else. That's obviously getting ignored by our media, except the hit and run incident in Flushing last night, which we will get into in this video. But before we get into that, I want to thank Pine Power LI last night for doing an excellent job on his video regarding the news going on in the middle of the island, well, as I like to call it, the mid-island region specifically. Um, we actually had a similar standoff last week here in Queens that actually got ignored by the media because they're too busy covering, well, you know what they're covering, the war in Israel. All right? I mean, it's an unfortunate circumstance, but again, I'll talk about that next week. All right? Because I'm not in the mood to talk about it in this video, but if you're not aware of what happened in Woodbury, there was a standoff. Yeah, this guy right here was squatting in a house illegally. And a naked teenage girl was spotted running out of the house. So, again, folks, if you want more details, please just watch Pine Power LI's video because he's better at explaining it than I would. Because we got to talk about what's going on here in Queens, alright? So, we had a similar standoff that literally happened last week that got ignored. Just like what happened in Woodbury back on Tuesday. Alright? So this is what we know regarding the standoff. Alright? So this happened last Wednesday just before 2 p.m. Queens shooting suspect engaged police officer in an hour-long standoff in an apartment building on Wednesday when the perpetrator was officially wounded. The suspect was removed by police and rushed to a local hospital for treatment. It was not immediately clear whether the gunman shot himself or was wounded by police. So this happened at 3131 54th Street in Woodside at about 10:50 last Wednesday, within the confines of the 114th precinct. The superintendent, a 48-year-old man, suffered a bullet wound to his stomach and was hospitalized for treatment. Okay, so he gave officers a little information about what happened, and he told officers that the person who shot him lived in the building, Chief Jeff Madry said at a press conference Wednesday. When police arrived at the apartment building, authorities say they reported McKean encountered the officer who had fired his weapon out of his apartment window while officers were attempting to reach him. So, according to what Madry said, at some point while they were in the building, our male comes out of the window of apartment 6J and fires at least one round. Our officers then respond, they make it to the 6th floor. One of our officers then discharges his weapons and at least 3 times at the male. We do not believe the officer hit the male. Madry said the suspect then ran back into the apartment and barricaded himself inside. Yep, so just like what happened in Woodbury on Tuesday. Oh boy, I mean, it's, you know. So the shooter was holding the elevator on the second floor of the building. Then he starts walking the staircases and he held the door. I saw him, said a resident of the building. The supervisor was inside of the elevator, then he started shooting boom, 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 boom. So it looks like this happened right by a park, I think. I'll look it up just a second, but you know, at least they got him. But still, I mean, this got ignored by the media. And one obvious reason was because there was an incident in Niagara Falls last week, which I'm not going to get into, but I'll just say that was an unfortunate circumstance where a car flipped over near the border crossing, and that's why this incident probably got ignored, which was a lot more serious than what happened in Buffalo, in the Niagara Falls area, excuse me. So I'll look up this address. It says, just had the address. 3131 54th Street. Okay, so we'll look it up in just a second. Alright, so I found it. Here it is. So this is the apartment building that's in question. And by the way, this really isn't a safe area to be in now, because you have a lot of migrants who have been occupying these buildings recently, so that doesn't really surprise me. So, yep, I know this area very well, right by the Northern Boulevard train station. Yep. And believe me, I know this area very well because I'm trying to see if I can find it. Let's see, is ARC still here? Yeah, this is where I used to do my job training back in the day. The Joseph Weingold Date Center. Woodside Avenue, yep. So I know exactly where this is. This does not surprise me, folks. It really does not. So we're going to get into what I really wanted to focus on, and that was this story last night. And it's a very unfortunate story that came out, and good job by the media. This was actually the top story last night. Yes, I'm not kidding. Some of the news stations actually had this as their top story last night. Not New York One. Just want to mention that. Toddler killed by hit-and-run driver on College Point Boulevard in Flushing. So this is what we know right now. A 3-year-old was struck and killed by a hit-and-run driver in Flushing last night. Police from the 109th Precinct responded to a 911 call of a pedestrian struck by a vehicle near the intersection of College Point Boulevard and 41st Avenue just after 6:30 p.m. They found the toddler lying on the roadway. EMS rushed the child to Booth Memorial Medical Center in Flushing, where he was pronounced dead. A preliminary investigation by the Highway District Collision Investigation Squad determined that the driver of the white four-door 2014 Infiniti Q50 was pulling away from the curb line when the youngster was started in front of the vehicle and was struck by the driver's side tires. The driver sped away from the scene and ditched the vehicle at College Point Boulevard and Popley Avenue, 4 blocks south of the scene of the fatal collision. No arrest, ongoing investigations. So, show you where this area, because this is right by where the Q58 stops. Right around here. That's 41st Avenue, and then you see the arrows, that's College Point Boulevard. Up, and that's Sanford Avenue. So, literally, I was near this area yesterday. And there's Popley Avenue right there. Because Popley Avenue is right where the Home Depot is. Just as an example. So there you go, folks. I mean, another example of what we got to deal with here in Queens. Another serious thing. Oh, I want to mention, yesterday, I'm going to tell you a quick story before we move on here. So yesterday, right when I was coming off the train in Auburndale, alright, so my dad picks me up right at Northern Boulevard, right where Osdom is, right? That's our rendezvous point, so that way we can make the left on the Francis Lewis Boulevard afterwards. Because my dad prefers me to walk from the station, which I understand why, because you know how narrow the street is over here on Station Road. So anyhow, long story short, here's the situation, alright? So, we're trying to make the left on the Francis Lewis Boulevard yesterday, and guess what I find out? There's like 2 police cars that pass by us, right? And I go on Citizen app, and I found out the police were chasing a suspect in a domestic dispute involving a lady and 2 kids, and the guy had a gun. That's right. I mean, I'm literally doing my civil obligation to Passengers United yesterday, and then look what happens. I mean, Queens is such a melting pot. It really, really is. You know, look how much crime we gotta talk about. And look at this. An MS-13 gang member gets life in prison for ordering a murder of a 16-year-old in Henley Pond Park. So I'm going to quickly read through this one. Yes, so... Wow, so this happened way back in 2017. My goodness. So this guy is from Briarwood. 17 of 18 counts by a federal jury. Look at that. I mean, if that doesn't tell you about how bad things are getting here in Queens, then, you know, this is the example of how the real estate agents in my area are desperate to sell houses around here because they know the market's going to take sooner rather than later. They're smart. They're not playing these games, you know? Okay, I want to talk about other incident that happened in College Point. Yes, let's read this one. So when did this incident happen? Same area. Yep. 20th Avenue near the Whitestone Expressway. This happened on Thanksgiving. You know, you cannot make this stuff up. Police responded to a 911 call of a vehicle collision involving pedestrians on 20th Avenue near the Whitestone Expressway in College Point at 3:15 p.m. last Thursday, November 23rd. A Brooklyn senior was killed after he lost control of his vehicle and crashed into two women. Further investigation by the Highway District Collision Squad determined that Evlad Yearwood of East 51st Street in East Flatbush, Brooklyn, was behind the wheel of a GMC SUV when he lost control and slammed into two women ages 66 and 23 who were standing on the sidewalk at a location. EMS responded to the scene and rushed Yearwood to Booth Memorial Medical Center where he was pronounced dead. Also, it looks like the EMS transported the 66-year-old woman who was a passenger in the SUV, and the two pedestrians were also taken to Booth Memorial, where all three were listed in stable condition. Oh, so the driver was the one who died. Okay, I see what's going on here. But again, another example of how the media just ignores things. I mean, it's just, this is going to be our thumbnail today. I know I don't want to have to make things graphic, but my goodness, this happened on Thanksgiving. You know how the media just ignores certain stories. Alright, so I guess I want to start off, yeah, see where I wanted to lead off from. Yeah, I don't have any more patience to read older stuff. In fact, I'm going to read what's going on in Bayside. Let's start off with that first, because we have some stories that have been getting ignored in Bayside. Let's start off with this one. Women struck and killed by a hit-and-run driver near the Clearview Expressway. In fact, hang on. Okay, no, this is not Northern Boulevard. Okay, I was worried there for a second. It looked like somewhere else. Here we go. So a 35-year-old woman was struck by a hit-and-run driver near the Clearview Expressway on November 14th. So this happened 2 weeks ago. Police from the 111th are looking for the motorist who sped away from the scene that left the victim injured and lying on the roadway at 6 a.m. So the woman was taken to Booth Memorial Medical Center where she was listed in stable condition. So here's what we know right now. So this happened at the Clearview Expressway Service Road at 32nd Avenue. And you got to be careful in this area at night because we have a lot of drag racers that like to, go down here. So the lady was just crossing the sidewalk. So this literally happened during rush hour. So this happened south. The SUV was heading towards Northern Boulevard. So we have it as a white 4-door SUV. Thinking this could be a BMW. Yeah. And we have something else that happened here in Bayside. We actually had a significant robbery happen. So let's get into that. Where in Bayside did this happen? Bell Boulevard. Which restaurant was this? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. This happened right by the 111. You gotta be kidding me. So this happened at Ledrina Estiano and Catering, 47-20 Bell Boulevard. Just 5 blocks south of Northern Boulevard. Yep, right by the 111. So this happened in broad daylight, 4 p.m. the day before Thanksgiving. So $60 in cash was stolen, credit cards, and personal items before running out of the eatery in an unknown direction. So we do have a surveillance video, and this is what we know. He's believed to be between 50 and 55 years old with a slim build and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a black leather jacket over a black hooded sweatshirt. He has a black bag over one shoulder, and he was carrying a pair of black shoes. Okay, so this is what we know, and we're going to get to some crime stats at the end of this video. So crime stats just came out on Sunday. The 111 has reported 291 burglaries so far, 33 fewer than the 250... wait, this actually is more. 33 more. That's a typo, whoever made that. So yeah, I mean, this is when I'm not kidding, folks. I tell people all the time, robbery is up in Queens this year. This is an example of what you get. This is an example. I mean, and then look, another robbery in Corona. I mean, you know, this is what we got to deal with here. This is what we got to deal with here. And then another robbery. I mean, look what we got to deal with here in Queens. All right? Look what we got to deal with here, okay? So I don't want to read every single story because we have to get to some crime news in the subway because that is more important. By the way, I'm glad the boy who vanished at the Malone Flushing was found safe, but still, I mean, we're going to get to a lot of crime in the subway because we got to talk about that. Well, specifically here in Queens. I'm not going to get into what happened at Clark Street in Brooklyn. All I'll just say is to Jack Nierenberg, he did an excellent job being at the scene a couple of days ago. But yeah, I mean, we got to talk about what's going on with the crime in the subways here in Queens because that's more of an urgent priority that the media seems to be ignoring. So let me just make sure that we got everything organized. I thought there was one more story I saw earlier. Yeah, okay, that's how we'll organize this. So let's get to the 7-Eleven story first. And then we'll get right into the subway crime here in Queens because we got to get into it. There's a lot of crime that we got to get into here in Queens with at least 3 stories I'm going to read for you. So that's all I have to wrap up this video. So let's see what happened in Middle Village. Alright, because I'm very curious about the 7-Eleven incident because this is a more recent incident. Police searching for crook who threatened to kill a 7-Eleven employee before trashing a Middle Village store. Police from the 104th Precinct are searching for the crook who allegedly threatened to kill a store worker last month. This happened on October 21st, but details just came out a couple days ago. Police say a 27-year-old man was working inside the 7-Eleven at 79-37 Metropolitan Avenue on Saturday, October 21st. The unidentified suspect entered the store and stated, "Come outside, I'll kill you." That's when the... oh, man, seriously, these typos. The Queens Courier's got to knock this off. They always seem to have that. That's when the crook began throwing items in the store, causing damage to store shelves, and tossed a newspaper stand to the ground, breaking it in the process. The suspect then fled west on Metropolitan Avenue. In a surveillance footage screenshot shared by the 104th Precinct, the suspect was last seen wearing a red hooded sweatshirt and black pants. The suspect could be facing felony charges if the store items damaged are valued at over $250. Yep, so there's the suspect. That might be a female. Yeah. So let's give a suspect description. So according to this picture, the suspect was last seen wearing a red sweater. Looks like that is blue pants, if I'm correct. Long hair, dark complexion, believed to be female. Or it could be transgender. You never know. Things are very possible in this day in 2023. So in any regard, let's get into the address. So I know exactly where this is. Q54 stops there. Yep. It happened right by St. John's Cemetery. Like, you literally cannot make this stuff up, folks. You literally can't. Alright? So let's get into the subway crimes here in Queens, and then we'll wrap up this video. First incident. Jackson Heights. When did this happen? This happened on November 19th. Police from the 110th from Elmhurst and Transit District 20 are looking for a man who approached the 49-year-old victim as he was riding a southbound E train at 11:30 on November 19th and slugged him in the face. The assailant proceeded to forcibly remove the victim's cell phone before running off the train at the Jackson Heights Roosevelt station. The victim suffered swelling to his face and was taken to Elmhurst Hospital, where he was last listed in stable condition. So there is surveillance video. Suspect was last seen walking along the platform with a black hooded sweatshirt, blue jeans, and white sneakers. So here's a good look at the suspect. So that's our first incident. Next incident we're going to get into is what happened in Far Rockaway. A teenager was attacked. So when did this happen? This happened November 9th. Okay. Police from the 101st reported that a 17-year-old victim was approached by a man who was at least twice his age as the train was pulling into the last stop, the Far Rockaway Mount Avion station on the A line just before 4 p.m. on Thursday, November 9th. A verbal dispute ensued and escalated into violence when the man allegedly strangled the teen, causing him to lose consciousness. The teenager got off the train at Mott Avenue, where his assailant remained on board. The victim sustained minor injuries and was transported to St. John's Episcopal Hospital, where he was listed in stable condition. So, here is a picture of the suspect police are looking for. He is approximately anywhere from the ages of 30 to 40, a light complexion, and is bald-headed. He was last seen wearing a yellow shirt, black sweatpants, orange sneakers, and a black backpack. A reward up to $3,500 is being offered for information that leads to an arrest. And then lastly, let's get into this incident. Yep. A subway conductor in Elmhurst attacked. This happened at the Woodhaven Boulevard station, not too far from the Queen Center Mall. And they threw ice at the conductor. My goodness. So this is what we knew. Excuse me. This incident occurred 2 weeks ago on Saturday, November 18th. Police say 3 boys threw ice at her, striking her in the face before running out of the station in an unknown direction. The 49-year-old victim sustained minor injuries, and EMS transported her to New York Presbyterian Hospital in stable condition. So this is what we know right now. So let's play the video here. So, look at this. They're laughing. They're laughing. I mean, really. And they're literally caught laughing in the picture here. I mean, don't they realize they terrorized this person just doing their job? I mean, really. Really. So I guess to wrap up this video, where is it? Oh, I saw something here. Here we go. Okay, so to wrap this up, let's get into this. Grand larceny auto incidents have soared. See, I'm not imagining things. I've been telling people. We were telling people. Jonathan Rinaldi was even saying this in the campaign trail. Car thefts are up this year. And Jim Gennaro doesn't do anything about it. I have to call out my city councilman. Just for that reason. The number of vehicles being stolen categorized by the NYPD as grand larceny auto has increased throughout Queens year to date compared to the same period in 2022, according to the latest stats released by the NYPD. Alright, so let's see if the 107th is listed here. Okay, it doesn't say anything about that, but let's get into yeah, see that? Okay, so they do have Fresh Meadows listed because we do share Sometimes when the 107th is not available for a call, we do get the 111 called in here in Fresh Meadows. So this makes sense here. Okay. So taking a look at not where is it? Okay, so robbery is down for whatever reason, but okay, assaults are down. That's a good sign. Let's see. Burglary is even. Here we go. Yes. Okay. So look at this. So even though grand larceny is down, 30% increase in grand larceny auto theft this year. You know why? It's probably the key is getting stolen. I mean, you literally cannot make this stuff up. Right? Oh, okay. So I'm in Queens South, not Queens North. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Wow, this is bad, folks. So here I am in the 107th. Okay. So here's what we know right now. So remember, we had one homicide last year. Oh my God, we actually had an incident of rape this year? That is crazy. Robberies are up 27.3%. 11 robberies year to date last year. 3 more this year. Felony assaults up this year. 23 in 2022. 30 this year. Okay, burglary is somewhat down this year, which that doesn't make any sense. 22 last year, 18 this year. Grand larceny is up 56.4%. 2022 year to date was 39. 2023 is 61. All right. So then you got to look at grand larcenies. This is the one that matters. When you look at grand larceny autos, I mean, look at this. I mean, what else is there to say? Grand larceny auto 2527. I mean, if that doesn't tell you what's going on here, then, you know, it's crazy, all right? So that's pretty much it, folks. I'm done talking here. And, you know, again, it's not just New York One that's been ignoring some of these stories. It's the other media outlets, too, that just flat out, time and time again, ignore Queens. And, you know, again, I'm glad they covered the hit and run of that 3-year-old. But that could have been any one of us. You know? So that's it, folks. Again, if you want to watch what's going on Long Island, I had it carded earlier. Maybe I'll try to card it again. Maybe I can double card the video. I don't know, but we'll see. So yeah, folks, that's it. I'm done talking. And again, Pine Power's video goes into what's going on Long Island. So that's pretty much it. And believe me, you know, if I gotta do this video again under a reasonable circumstance, I'll do it. But it's not going to be every day. All right, like it used to be. So that's it.